Hello, everybody. Right now, I'd like to talk to you about online extremism and my experience with it. A lot of you have actually seen that there's been a lot of white nationalists or Nazis that have popped their heads in these past couple years. And now that there's social media, and now that there are things like YouTube pages like the one that you're at right now, it's a little easier to get your voice out than it was before. Back in the day, you needed to be friends with somebody in print media. And you needed to be or friends with a publicist who had contacts in print media. Nowadays, you can just start a channel. Now, that didn't start just nowadays. Now, online hate definitely started with the internet boom. As soon as the internet boom started in the 90s, and the internet became this thing that everybody kind of had and became uniform to American households, there was already crazy stuff on it. Everything dark that's out there today was out there immediately when the internet became out, including extremism and hate. Now, back when I was about, 14 years old, I had my little brush in with this stuff. I was going to this, what you would call today, a white nationalist website. I thought it was funny. A friend of mine showed it, and we were just kind of all, me and a couple other friends, we saw it, we kind of giggled about it. There were some cartoons in the form of low-quality comic strips, which today would be called memes, that had a bunch of racist characters of people, as well as just really tasteless, crude humor that is really overt bigotry. It's really hard to explain. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe you've seen it. Anyway, I saw this stuff, and I thought it was kind of edgy. I thought it was kind of funny. So a couple of my friends showed it, so it was normal to me. And me being a white guy growing up in the 90s, you hear a lot of racism out of people's mouths all the time, regularly. And unlike in television, or unlike in movies, where the bad guy's just some low, obnoxious, really just screwball of a person that really can't even contain their own hate, in reality, it's subtle. People don't act like that. And when you were a white person growing up in America, that subtlety is around a lot, especially back then, and it still is a little bit today. So anyway, I see these sites, and then I start going there for a couple months. I thought it was hilarious. Look at all these little racist cartoons. Look at all these racist songs. Look at all this racist bulletin boards, posts. And then one day, I was clicking on something else in that website, and it showed a hierarchy of white supremacist Nazis, some Nazi group. And I don't really remember too much. I know there was a leader at top. There was either like lieutenants. Now there was some people maybe in between that. But the bottom rung, when I saw that, that's what the problem was. I saw the bottom rung were supporters. I'm like, what's a supporter? It's people that are on the website. And then it kind of clicked on me. If I keep going down this rabbit hole, I'm literally going to become one of these people. This isn't edgy. This isn't funny anymore. And it kind of scared me a little bit. And I got out of it. And I stopped going to this stuff, and it kind of spooked me. Now, I was about 14, maybe 15 when this happened. So a lot of people go through what I go through, and then they just kind of back off, and they go, whoa, this rabbit hole's a little too deeper. Way deeper than I thought it was. I can't do this. But a lot of people go diving in anyway. And me going through what I went through as a kid, I know how easy it is to get down this little rabbit hole. See, what I know now that I didn't know then was this website had songs, had little racist, edgy songs. It had these comic strips, what we call memes. It had childish humor. It was all there. Well, of course, made by adults with emotional immaturity issues, of course. But it was targeted just to make kids that were confused like me, just to break them into extremism. And I realized, because once you're in that middle school age, between 12 and 15, if you have something in your life that you like, and you find your passion, that's usually the age you do it. For me, I found music, and I ended up playing music, and I still do. But a lot of people, they're going to go, and what they're going to do is, they're going to jump, and they're going to dive into the rabbit hole. And now, since there's more visibility of what you call white nationalists, or Nazis, or just overt bigots, it's going to be a lot easier and easier for people to jump headfirst into an extremism pit. It's absolutely awful. It's frightening when it's real. But here's the thing. But when you have something like extremism and bigotry normalized in a society, then it's not unnormal to be extreme. Right now, the reason why we have so many of these white nationalist types, these Nick Fuentes types out there, is because he's a product of our society. It's just he exists because there's enough racist people to make him exist. It's just the way things kind of are. And how do we kind of combat it? We do two things. We create voices that actually spread a different message: equality, embrace diversity, embrace everybody. And then we also accept them when they change. That's going to be the hardest part. If we can accept the people that have gone down these rabbit holes and say, come on, get out of it, and just accept them as normal people again, the chances of them leaving go up dramatically. Because I mean, just think about it for a second. The reason why you jump into extremism is because there's a certain familiarity there. There's anger, there's confusion, and there's a bunch of people telling you you're special. Then we have to normalize progressive ideals to counter it. It's the perfect example of what you do with fascism. When you combat fascism or authoritarian politics, you have to come up with a view that's pretty much reactionary to the authoritarian's view, in the sense that we have to come up with a plan and we have to come up with a way of life that's completely better than anything that they have to offer. And even though I was able to hold myself from jumping in, a lot of people weren't. And my message to you is, stop doing what you're doing. It's just not worth it. But of course, just a talking head on the internet. What we all need to do as a society is we need to vote for progressive change, so at least we can get civil rights uniform in the federal government, so that putting this extremist rhetoric and keeping it out of society is more normal than accepting it. And that takes a lot of work.